So there's a lot of you who have been asking, how do I productionalize my code, the stuff that I've written on localhost? How do I get it in the cloud so that people can use what I've built? What's the easiest way to do that? So let's go through that today. What I've got on the left is a simple app that is running called Free Nonprofit Store. That runs on localhost 3000. It is a very basic store where if I go to products, I can pick a shirt, I can pick the color and the size. I can add it to a cart. I can then hit proceed to checkout. And then if I have this configured, it'll go through and check out using Square. The problem is nobody can use this because it's at localhost 3000. So how do we get there? How do we get to the cloud so that people can go to a link and check out there? Um, what we're going to use is fly.io. So what I'm going to do is actually remove some of the stuff that's in this repository, namely fly.2ml, and I'm going to remove this Docker file. And then we're going to start from scratch, and I'm going to show you how you can get this running in Fly like a fly, on the fly. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is remove those files. So let's clear this, and let's remove Docker file, and let's remove fly.2ml. Now, if I run fly, it's a little bit of a step you have to do to get fly running locally. I'm going to skip that step. So you can get fly command line running on your Windows, Mac, whatever. And here I'm going to do fly launch. Fly launch knows that it's a dedicated Next.js app right here, and found that I have a /app directory, which is true right here. It's going to ask me what my organization is. If I have a name that I want to use, it auto generates one. The region, it's going to put it in LAX. So anyone that's on the West Coast will have much faster experience. It's going to be shared 1x CPU and 1 gig RAM, which is kind of a lot. Don't know that I need that. And so I want to tweak these settings. So I'm going to hit Y and it will pop open in my browser and it will let me tweak some of these settings. So I'm going to probably drop this down to 512, leave everything else the same. If you have organizations like we do, you can throw it in an organization or you can leave it in your personal. Don't want to use Postgres. This doesn't require any Redis, any caching. So I'll hit confirm, and then it'll tell me that I can close this tab. And then on the left, you can see it's now creating a Docker file. It's waiting. And let's come back when this is done. Okay, now it's building out the Docker image. It's going to take that and it's going to throw it into Fly. We see it here, this app Purple Morning, which matches our app name right here. So let's go into app Purple Morning. And it should only run with one machine. It's not yet running yet because it's still building the Docker container. So let's wait for Docker to be done, and then it should put it up in Docker, and then it should pull that, create a single machine, and run it. So it's actually running npm run build, which is the command that you would run to productionalize your node code. It runs that, and then it takes the output of that and packages that within the Docker container as well. Let's wait a little bit longer. Now it is provisioning IP addresses. It's getting pretty close. It's actually creating 2 app machines. No machines yet, so it's launching a new machine, which is this one. We're waiting for that. Refresh the page here, and we see that there are 2 machines created, both in LA. There's the name of the machine, and they've created recently, and we're done. So now if I go to this link, now we see the store, and we see the same exact stuff. View details, I can add, I can do this, can do this regular procedure checkout. And now if I give this link to anyone else, they can go and check out in the browser. So in about 5 minutes, we went from having some Node.js code to doing fly launch, and we're ready to go. But what happens if we want to make one change? Let's talk about that next. All right, so if you're using iTerm, you can do a fancy command that is Command Shift D, and it splits another pane for you. What we're going to do is go into this same directory, maybe I want to change one of the options that's here. So maybe instead of a t-shirt, maybe I want to change that. So if I look through here, I see this JS config JSON. I don't see very easily how I can modify that. So let me go into my pages. Let me click through here and see if I see anything that's obvious. Products.json. That sounds interesting. It's empty. Here's a config loader. This makes it seem like it's exactly what I want. I could probably also find this really quick if I just look for nonprofit t-shirt in the repo and enter there, and it's in that config loader.js. So let's go over here and let's go into utils and let's vi config loader.js. The thing I want to change is this t-shirt. Let me just remove the word nonprofit like that. I save that, and now I do back here npm run dev. Now I can see it locally. Hopefully that changes there locally. Let's refresh localhost, go back to products, and now it says t-shirt instead of nonprofit t-shirt. So how do I get that change up into the cloud now that I've made that single change? Well, it's really simple. Instead of doing fly launch, I just do fly deploy. And now it should be a little bit faster than fly launch because it'll take all my code again, it'll rebuild that code, and it'll repackage my Docker container and then push that back up into Fly's cloud. And we should see an update. Let's wait a few seconds in real time as it does its build. And then it's going to push the new updates to the container. And that's it. So it is updated the container, and now it's updating those two existing machines with that new Docker container, with that new version of that Docker file. So we're waiting for it to do that. Let's switch back here and make sure everything's running. And it's waiting for the second machine to reach a good state. And now I can probably refresh, and I already see it because one out of the two machines is updated, and it load balances me to that one machine that is updated. And now I see it say t-shirt. So that's how you go from localhost to getting on the cloud to updating one of the changes on the cloud. There's probably many other different ways you could do this. You can use Vercel, but Fly is literally the easiest solution. It's also super cheap to get started. So there's how one of the ways you can get all of your code up and running in the cloud so that people can use it. So yeah.